I am yet again sick. Same thing that happens each winter. I've got my cough. So, what I think is going on, I think it's like seasonal bronchitis or chronic
Right.
bronchitis. I don't know how much there is that I can actually do about that. It sucks. I've been sick since Monday and I'm kind of starting to feel a little bit better. The sickness is frustrating. Don't
We're
get
in
me
sixth
wrong.
season. Are your kids getting sick too?
Not really. Carson's got a little something going on, but it's not crazy. My thing is the sick isn't that bad. It's the cough. Like
Right.
the cough lasting for fucking five
Months.
months.
Right.
It's like I can't do it anymore. So I'm really trying to take care of myself. I've been eating healthy as it is. One thing I will say that it has kind of been a benefit. It's been since Monday afternoon. Monday afternoon is whenever I started getting sick. I have lost a few pounds because just I'm not hungry, like no ambition to eat. I have to
Right.
force myself to. So yeah, that's kind of nice. But besides that, like I haven't. I was trying to work out every day through it, and that was super hard. I didn't work out yesterday. I don't know if I'm going to today because I'm trying to rest and feel better. So,
Sometimes you need to give your body a break. But, I need to get back on that workout train myself because that's when I felt mentally my best. Like
right.
mentally stronger because it gives you that little hit of dopamine. And I feel like I'm one of those people that needs that
Yeah.
constant stimulation to keep
Yeah.
on going.
Yeah. No, I agree. I enjoy working out and I have to like whenever I get started, I can't stop because if I stop, I allow myself to get distracted and out of the habit, which is why the sick thing is so frustrating because it's like I'm on a roll here. I'm actually doing really good, so I got to keep it that way.
Right.
But
There's always something that tries to throw you off of your A
oh
game
yeah.
when you're dedicated and on the right track.
Yeah.
That's also a good analogy for recovery. It's like as you're trying to recover and get your body back into a healthier state, sometimes it's difficult because, like you and I were talking earlier, early recovery, we start going back to the doctors. We want to get ourselves looked at, we want to get our lab work done, we want to make sure that everything's good, but it's impossible.
Yeah, so I had that problem, and I kind of still have that problem. Like, whenever I got off everything, I started going to the doctor regularly again, and
Right.
I had my sub doctor too. Even after that, like now that I just have one doctor again, it's like I hadn't gotten to the doctor for years, homie. Like legit years. Like unless I was sick and I went to convenient care or something like that, I had not got blood work done. Really had myself checked out. Nothing like that. So whenever you go to the doctor, it's like I want you to do a full workup. Do
Right.
all of the things, all of it. I want to know everything. So if something is wrong, I can get ahead of it. And most of them won't do it.
And a lot of times you really have to advocate and do research ahead of time,
Mhm.
asking them to run specific labs because they only want to do like the generalized labs. They
Mhm.
don't want to dig into things and say, like, could this be going on? Could that be going on with you? A lot of us beat our bodies up. I know I beat the shit out of myself out there.
Yeah, no, 1,000%. And it's just like, homie, like if something is wrong, because I felt bad even whenever I got off the subs. I went to a new doctor because I wasn't going to be seeing my sub doctor anymore, and my other one I wasn't super happy with. So
Right.
went to a new doctor. I love my new doctor. I think she's
That's
great.
good.
But that being said, it's still, hey, I feel like this is wrong and this is wrong. And then this whole cough thing has started in the last couple of years. And it's like, I want answers to this. Like, I want to
Right.
figure
A
this
lot
out.
of times they're not looking at all the other things and adding them up and giving you like a diagnosis. They
Hmm.
just look at it as individualized little issues that you have going on. when they really should be digging and saying like, oh, okay, you've had this cough for 8 months straight. Like, let's dig a little deeper to figure this out.
Well, and like my doctor did tell me if this started again to say something, which I haven't yet, just because it was Thanksgiving week, and because I want to make sure that's what it is. It feels
Right.
like it's the same thing. I have that same like wheezing in my chest, but I wanted to make sure, and I just want to rule out whatever it is to see what I can do to help, because like I don't think it's like COPD or something. I
It
couldn't
could be
see.
though. It actually could be.
But so last year, whenever this was happening, I went to a like breath
Did
pulmonary
you do that
specialist.
test where you have to like blow and suck into the pipes?
Yes,
Right. I did that.
and I was like above average. So
Right.
even if it was early stages of COPD, I wouldn't have been above average. Like it would
No, I
show.
understand. So
So
it for that test you pass. So they're not looking at it as like
yeah, yeah,
right.
it's which makes me think it's got to be other things, because like
You know what's crazy? Do you start doing the Dr. Google thing that I do? Do you go
yeah,
down rabbit holes? I don't even Google things. I go right on TikTok now and I put it in the search bar, whatever I'm looking up. And I found videos that, like, you're like, oh my God, that's it. That's what's going on with me. It's crazy how sometimes when other people put out their story or whatever, you could relate almost
yeah,
instantly.
and I don't like doing that too much, just because whenever you start Googling and shit like that, like most of it's not real answers. Like it's all the same nonsense, and it usually goes to the worst possible thing.
Right. It goes like right to see.
Right. And it's like that's not actually the problem. And yeah, so I'm
Yeah,
not
but medical anxiety, like Ricky said, is a real thing. Like, I can remember early on in my recovery wanting to go to the doctors and like making sure that all my lab work was good and, health wise, I was okay. And I've had even times there where like they first start doing your blood pressure and it's like through the roof because you're already so worked up about being in that room.
and that's my thing. Like that's why I want those full workups. Like I want to know if something is wrong. Like last year I got an X-ray on my chest and it was fine, but did that show my throat? Did that show everything else? Like no. So
Right.
I don't give a shit how much it costs. I want to start from scratch, and then I can have a baseline and start figuring out some of the shit.
And a lot of times you go to the doctor and they're like, oh, well, let me run some labs and let me just pass you off to another doctor, a specialty doctor.
Mhm.
It's like they don't want to do the dig in. They would rather just put it off on a different doctor. And sometimes I feel like that's just a money grab, unfortunately.
I completely agree. I think a lot of it is a money grab, and I understand getting sent off to other doctors. Like okay, like I talked about the like red marks on my neck. My doctor is not going to know about that. That's fine, that's understandable. Sent off to dermatology. So I go to dermatology, and while I'm there, it's like, oh, that's from the sun and all this stuff, and okay, perfect. Now what I want, instead of just being kind of dismissed, I appreciate you telling me that is no big deal. Cool. I totally understand that's not a big deal. What about all this other shit? Like,
Right.
I have this mark on my body or this mark on my body, whatever. Can you, like, check out any of this stuff? Like, let's make it
I feel like
worthwhile.
so many people, like Ricky said, they get lost in that like referral thing
Mhm.
with like, and a lot of times, like for me, even being a mother with the kids, trying to get all the kids' stuff in order is hard for me too, because I'm not only trying to do it for me, I'm trying to do it for four other people at the same time.
Yep.
And my schedule has to be able to make sure that I have time for all of their individualized needs, and it becomes overwhelming.
Oh, 1,000%. And it gets
Right.
expensive. Like, fucking last year, I can't tell you how much money I spent on this damn cough. just trying to
Right.
get someone to give me an answer. It's $30 for a
It's
copay.
co-pays, it's deductibles, it's
Mhm.
money, money, money.
And that $30 should have got me the very first time, should have got me an x-ray, some meds, like we actually try and figure it out. It took 8, 9, 10 times later. So instead of $30, it took like 300 because you
Right.
motherfuckers just wanted to rush me out. Like, fuck you.
I get so many messages, like even my friend Patty in here, she has been having some memory issues and, just struggles. And it took over 6 months for her to be able to get the MRI. You know why? Because she has a spinal cord stimulator. So the MRI place that her doctor sent her to, they couldn't help her because of the stimulator. Like the doctor should have known off the jump, you have a stimulator. You need to go to a special machine in
Hmm.
order to get that test done. Instead, they sent her to the wrong place and she keeps doing that cycle in, cycle in. And all while she's continuing to have all of these issues. And I get messages from people that are like, I have chronic pain issues. And the doctor's being so dismissive to every single thing that I'm saying. Like, instead of the doctor listening and saying, like, all right, let me try to help you, they're looking at it like, oh my God, I can't write any narcotics. Like, I don't do that.
I'm not going to say who because it's a minor, but I have someone that I know that is 16 years old that recently went into the ER with her mom because she was having stomach pain, like severe, severe stomach pain. And it was like, okay, what the heck's going on? So goes into the ER. They I don't know if they thought she was like trying to get narcotics or what
Right.
they thought,
But
but
they thought a 16-year-old child, like that.
so they went to send her home. Finally, her mom was like, "You have to run some sort of test. Like,
Right.
we're
Like
not."
she knew as a mother that that was an abnormal amount of pain and she didn't want to her child to come home and feel in pain that was uncontrollable.
Right. She was just like, this is not getting dismissed.
Right.
So they do a bunch of tests. She ends up waiting quite a while, finally finds out, oh, you have appendicitis. So, okay, we need to, get her in for surgery, figure out, whatever we need to do. They took 3 hours. In that 3 hours, they finally get her in. Her appendix burst. Then she
Ooh.
has sepsis. She just got home, but she was in the hospital for like 2 weeks. It was touch and
Wow.
go whether she was going to survive or not. They just couldn't get control of the fever. She is currently in there with like a catheter for the next 6 weeks because she had no control there. She had a hemorrhoid that they were dealing with. She had like an abscess on her liver. Just everything, all because of them taking too long because they didn't take it seriously.
Thank goodness that that mother advocated. That is all I have to say. And that is the reason why it is so important. Even when you feel like they're looking at you like, oh, med seeker, drug seeker, pill
Right.
seeker, you have to keep advocating no matter what. Because you're right. What if she just got discharged home with some Tylenol and 800 milligram ibuprofen,
She
like
would have
they like
died.
to give? She wouldn't been being picked up in a body bag.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
straight up.
The doctor, the next doctor that came in that actually took over said that she wouldn't have made it. If she would have gone
Wow.
home, there would have been no chance.
That is scary.
Yeah. And that's your kid.
Right.
And
That's and
my child almost died because you aren't doing your job because you want to
right.
just rush her out the door.
That's why when it comes to things with my kids, I'm the same way. Those doctors know how I am. I'm very like, nope. Like I'm always at the doctor with my kids. I think I'm there like once a week at this point.
Yeah.
And I almost have like a fear of not bringing them to the doctors because of my past and because of DCF being involved. So it's like I have like these irrational things, like they get a cough, I bring them right away. Like I don't wait it out. I, but I gotta try to chill with some of that because I it's very time consuming to have to keep the kids home
Yeah.
all the
Yeah.
time from school for things that they'll be okay. Like back in the day, I had to have like a fever and my mom still wouldn't let me stay home from school.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like,
And
yeah,
I won't take the kids for just a cough usually, unless it lasts for a long time or it gets really really severe. Like if I notice they're going to bed just coughing up a lung, and it's like
that's what's been going on with my kids. They've been sick for
yeah.
like the past 8 weeks. It's like I have the albuterol, like the machine. I do breathing treatments. We have medicine now, but it's like one thing after the next. And it's like the kids are constantly sick. And when you have multiple people in your household, it's like one
Hmm.
gets better and the other one's just getting sick. And then the other one gets sick and the other one's getting better. And it's
Yeah.
just like that vicious cycle.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's it's hard too because it's like you just want to do what's best for your kids. I mean, you can
Right.
only do so much to
And
help.
then the thing is like I have multiple, like I was telling my mother yesterday, I have multiple, like my kids are all on multiple waiting lists. Like my son has a lot of GI issues. I'm on a waiting list, but like I need to, my mom even said, like, you need to get him an appointment soon because he has problems where he has issues going to the bathroom. And it's like he holds it for a very, very, very long time to the point where you can end up like bursting your intestines that way.
Yeah.
So I have him on a waiting list right now, but I'm calling tomorrow to see if I could get that appointment pushed up a little bit.
Why does he do that?
He has a hard time, like he has issues with his stomach, and for some reason, I don't know if it's like anxiety or whatever, but like he will not use the bathroom. Like he holds it in to the point where his bowels are completely compacted.
Kids do that all the fucking time, and I hate that shit. Just go to the
Right.
bathroom.
It's an
Sometimes,
anxiety thing. No, for him though, it's like a mental thing as well. Like he really struggles.
huh? Sometimes it's just them being lazy, which I'm not saying Joey's
Right.
doing that, but
Right. No, I know what you mean. Like
like that
like
drives me
I always
crazy.
tell him, go use the bathroom. Like put aside time and like go in there with your phone and like scroll and sit on the toilet and go to the bathroom. Like it's hard because I have to give him medicine to try to go to the bathroom, but like he's very fearful of using like public toilets or even like at my parents' house. He was scared. And guess what? He did. He ended up clogging the toilet. He was right.
Well, that means you got a lot out, so that's a good
Right.
thing.
But it's
Huh.
like one of those things that like you just like with kids, it's hard. It's always a struggle. I have so many appointments, not only for myself, but to make sure that my kids' mental health is in check, to make sure that they do their therapy and their regular doctor's appointments. It's
And
hard.
and Brittany said it's not something they can just do. Do you mean it's not? They can't just hold it because they can. They definitely can. I for some reason did the same thing. Like whenever I was 6, 7, 8, I would do the same thing, and
I
I
think it has to do with anxiety and like OCD, to be honest. Like his
yeah.
is his is like GI and mental health together, if that makes any sense. Like a
I don't
combination.
I don't really know why I did it, but I mean, I had a lot of like it was hard to go to the bathroom after a while because I held it for like so
Right.
long.
And that's what's going on. And you know what? A lot of kids do that
Yeah.
because of like he's fearful of public toilets. Like he doesn't want to use like the school's toilet. So he holds it. He doesn't want, he only feels comfortable going here.
And that I get. I totally get
But
that.
it's also one of those habits that I kind of need to make sure that I get like ahead of because that could cause, if you hold it for so long like that, your bells can break. Like
Oh
you
yeah.
can,
Yeah, well, and it's really serious if you do. And I see what you're saying, Brittany,
right.
especially if they have GI issues and stuff like that. That's a little different. I just meant in general, some kids just decide to hold it. There's no other issue. It's just they don't want to like get up to go to the bathroom. GI issues are rough too because
They are.
it can end really, really bad where it's just like, oh, you have to have a bag for the rest of your life or whatever. So it's important to try and take care of that like as early
Right.
as you can.
And that's why these waiting lists suck. It sucks to try to get referrals to certain doctors. It
Yep.
sucks to have the doctor hear what you're saying to begin with. Like, and then you and I were also talking medical bills earlier. A lot of
Mhm.
people don't have the money and finances to see these tests through and see the doctors through. Like, I know my parents right now, they're getting older.
And
They,
that's good,
right,
good.
they just got to the point where they're like, you know what, I'm done with seeing doctors because they're realizing that all these doctors keep doing is sending them to a different doctor and it's another copay. It's more money, 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 money. And
Yep.
when you're on a limited income, you're like, you know what? I've lived a good life. I'm not going to keep paying money to these doctors that I'm not getting answers for. It,
And I get it. A lot of people who have cancer do that. They give up. And it's I don't know, man. Do you worry about like getting older and just the older you get, the more likely there is for something to go wrong?
I've never really thought about that until I was at my parents' this weekend for
Really?
Thanksgiving. And I saw the struggle in my dad, like with his memory. That was hard to witness.
Yeah.
Like, you can literally be having a conversation right there with him. And 2 seconds later, he's asking you the same question, like he doesn't recall the conversation. And it makes me wonder, like, what does he remember? Like, is he going to remember that I just came to visit him?
We had the same issue with my grandma, especially the very last time we went. I mean, she had breast cancer and dementia for years and years and years, and she kind of made it through. And the last time we went, uh, she thought I was my Uncle Keith, and it was just weird, and it was hard because the whole entire time she's been in a wheelchair for she had been in a wheelchair for decades, but she was asking my dad and I to just grab some clothes and throw them on her and carry her out, and that was the entire last time we were together. That was the conversation once she was lucid enough to actually have a conversation.
As a child, it's hard to watch your parents' health decline. It's
Hmm.
hard to see those changes within them that you think, like, I took lots of pictures, I took lots of videos, things that I wouldn't have done a few years ago, because right now, I know the clock's ticking.
Yeah, yeah. Well,
And I think we all come to this realization that sometimes you know that you're running out of time with certain people. And it is scary to think about because a lot of times these things are genetic within the family. So it's like now, this time of me going there, I'm thinking, oh my God, am I going to be like my dad when I get older? Is this going to happen to me?
between my mom and my dad, we've got a history of like 7 or 8 different cancers, and then of course the dementia and all that stuff. I If that started happening to me, and Shannon and I have discussed this, if it gets like that, I told her go ahead and find a way to just take me out. It's you have to be really careful with that kind of thing because I don't want her to get in trouble. But like if
Right.
I got to drive off a cliff or something, that's fine. I can't if my memory's gone. I
You
can't.
know what's sad though? But like, when you're with somebody, like my parents have been together over 60 years. My father was sitting there, we pulled out old pictures and we were looking at, like, he's like, who's this in this picture?
Hmm.
And I'm looking at him, and my mom's like, that's our wedding picture. That's me and you.
Hmm.
And I'm sitting there thinking, like, then, then he'll tell me a story from 60 years ago and has it all like,
It's
but my
weird.
father, my father never told me stories from 60 years ago. So I got to see a different side of him that I actually appreciated because I heard some stories and he never really told me. So it's like the parts of him that might seem broken right now, I was trying to look at it the opposite way and say, you know what? I got to hear some of these stories that I never heard before. Like I tried to find the positive in the negative.
Do you worry about like your own mortality at all? Do you think about that?
I try not to. You know, years ago, I didn't care if I made it through the rest of the day. There was
I
plenty times I planned on taking myself out,
I
like
get it.
well thought, constructed plans. I really think that once you get to that point, it should be up to you personally what you choose to do with your life.
And you have to figure that stuff out ahead of time. Because I remember there was a whole argument about it. Like somebody made a video or whatever, like saying, "Oh, this is such a horrible thing."
Right,
Watching my grandma go through that, I completely understand.
right.
'Cause it's she went through that for 8 years.
And to lose yourself, like to lose
Yeah.
your ability to get up in the morning and stand up with your own 2 feet planted on the ground, to be able to get up and do simple things like brush your teeth, remember to take your meds. Like once you start losing that part of yourself, you are dependent on someone else to take
Yep.
care of you. And I'm a very independent person. I don't think that I would be able to be submissive like that.
Once I can't experience life anymore and it's all just people just taking care of me, I am wasting their time. Like in my opinion, that is the number one thing I hate out of everything in this world is when people waste my time.
But
I
also, can you I want to look at it in one other different perspective.
Okay.
Even though you might look at it as, oh my God, I don't want to do this anymore. This is wasting my time. Have you thought about what your children would think?
uh
Because that's what I'm kind of dealing with right now with my own parents. Like, they don't want to go to the doctors anymore. They don't want to do certain things because it's getting expensive and it's
mhm.
getting costly and they're not even getting answers anyway. But then there's this part of me that's like, they don't want to fight for me. But is it something that they have to do? Like that's a hard thing to think about. Like how would your daughter feel if you're just like, you know what, I'm giving up?
But I'm talking now if it's a disease and it's beatable, we're gonna fight that fucker. Like
Right.
we're going to war, whatever we
Okay.
have to do. If it is I am so far gone, I can't tell like anything that's happening. I am now wasting my daughter's time and putting her through hell having to take care of everything or the other kids or whoever. I'm taking away nurses' times or whatever that could be saving someone's life instead of wasting their time on my dumb ass. And I'm wasting my own time. Like what I'll have like 2 seconds of clarity every day.
It's got to be scary to wake up and not know. Like being at my parents, one of the things that I notice that my mother does for my father is every day on a sticky note she writes the day, the month,
Hmm.
and the year on there for him. And I kept replacing them every day. But I was telling my dad, like, oh my God, I can't believe it's December on Sunday. And he's like, oh wait, wasn't this just Halloween? And I'm like, no, it's Thanksgiving. Like
Yeah.
you just have no track of time. No, it's got to be a very scary thing to live through.
And I think one of the stipulations I would start putting on it is if I'm starting to become a danger to myself or other people, like I take off and go drive.
See, that's the thing I'm scared about because you can be unpredictable when you're in that state and you're used to being so independent. Like, I'm scared my
Yeah.
dad's just going to grab the car keys and get in the car one day and go for a ride.
Yeah.
Let me tell you something. If that happens, he's not coming back.
And
Like, he's not coming back from that ride.
you could unalive somebody on it and have no
Right.
clue.
Right.
I
And it's
just
scary.
or if I forget if I get to the point where I start forgetting my kids' names or my wife, like nah, this it's too late. There's nothing left. And even if I'm halfway cognizant, if I am halfway cognizant and can pull myself out of it here and there, I'll do what I have to do because
Right.
I cannot do that. But like I said, if it is something and I can fight, or if somebody tells me you have stage 4 cancer, you've got, 6 months. I best believe I'm going to give that 6 months my all. But that's something I think about every day, and something that not every day, but something that I constantly am trying to consider, because I did waste a lot of time. I only have so much time left, and I want to make something out of my life. And to do that, I can't just fart around all the time. And just like this sick thing, part of it is I do not have time to sit around. I'm trying to build something. I am trying to have a fulfilling life and a legacy to leave to my children, and make a name for myself, because that's a big thing for everybody. Like I don't want to just be forgotten to time. Like, you know how many billions of people have just been forgotten to time? Fuck all that. I got to do something to make myself remembered and to take care of my kids.
That is a good conversation to have, though, like with your kids. I mean, you never know what their wishes are. I think it's a good conversation to have in general.
And Ricky is right. Health is you have to take that time for yourself. Like, that's why I've kind of taken the past couple of days and tried to relax, because I do. I even told Jan, like, hey, I'm gonna be completely useless for the next couple of days, because I actually want this to be done, instead of just brutalizing my body whenever I'm sick, and it being dragged out for weeks and weeks and weeks.
That's what happens because we're in this, the holidays are here, the hustle and
Mhm.
bustle, you need to be here at a certain time, you got to be doing this, you got a deadline to meet for Christmas, and the the elves are coming back soon. I know for me. What about you?
The elf's already back.
My elves are coming back soon.
Yep, Elf's back. He's been back. He came back Thanksgiving night.
We got like six of them, so I got like a whole family.
Hold on. I gotta ask you. So, give me your best opinion on this. If you were given 1 month, what would you do?
I would want to go somewhere to like a beach, like a really nice beach, because I feel the most at peace when I'm like in nature near the water. I would want to go to a beach with my kids.
I would, especially if it was like now, I would risk a lot of things. I would
Like
do,
what? Like
oh,
what? What are
dude,
you talking about?
I would do anything and everything I could to make sure my kids are taken care of. Like,
Right.
dude, take me to the casinos. If I gotta rob them motherfuckers, let's go. I don't give a fuck. I would have to do anything I can to fast track making sure that they are
If
good.
I had a month to live, I would just want to make memories. That's all. I would just want to be with my kids and make memories.
I'd make some memories for sure.
Right.
I would just make sure they're taken care of too.
Hey,
That's why I don't
if
want
you
to
got
think
to
about
go rob a
that.
casino, I'll do it with you. I
Hey, let's go,
mean, just
homie.
saying, like, I could use the money.
They ain't never finding that money. It's gonna be gone for the next 40 years. Let them forget about it, and then the kids got it. Let's go.
Right.
But no, yeah, I would literally just strive to do whatever I have to fast track building, and just trying to make the best of it.
Ricky, that's funny that you asked that question because that's like the next topic that Kyle and I were going to discuss today
Yeah.
was in early recovery, like the gatherings and stuff like that. In early recovery, I didn't go around family really because I had to leave people, places, and things. I'm here in Massachusetts, like 6 hours away from my family.
Hmm.
So I don't really go to family events or anything like that. I really kept a very small circle in early recovery. Very few people did I ever like associate with, to be honest with you. What about you?
Yeah, it was kind of the same. I like this year, being sick and everything. I was kind of out of it, but we kind of like I'm so far out of all that stuff. It doesn't really have an effect on me that much anymore. Like, I'm cool with everybody. I show up.
But do you remember those days? Because I can, like, when I would first see someone and they knew that, like, I had recently gotten my shit together, it is awkward at first. And it's like, I feel like a lot of my family was looking at me in disbelief, like, is she together or is she not? Is she faking it or is she really doing the right thing? Like, because there were so many other times that I would tell people that I was good when I wasn't good,
Wasn't
bro.
good. That's kind of how it was, especially whenever I went to rehab because I had only been out for, a couple of months. And
Right.
it just that first time going to Thanksgiving was the next holiday because I was in there over like 4th of July and stuff. Uh, Showed up to Thanksgiving and it was really freaking weird. I
Right.
mean,
I could remember getting looked at by people like, like, is she faking or is she good? And I still, years later, feel like at first, when I would go to gatherings, people would even be weird about alcohol. Like, alcohol was never really my DOC. But hey, if you got some alcohol, we're having a good time. Trust and believe. But in early recovery, like I could see, like I went to a party like 5 years into recovery, and like my brother was like, "Do you want it?" Like he still offered me a drink. He's like, "It's up to you. Like if you want it."
right.
And there has been times in my recovery that I have had a few drinks.
Sure.
Like
Yeah.
I've been able to. Like I could remember one time going to my brother's during the summer, and he gave me like a wine cooler in the pool. And
Yeah.
I didn't guzzle it like I used to. I sipped on it and I kind of just let it go because I really wasn't interested.
I don't think I would even bother anymore because it's just like I don't have time to feel that way. Like I don't need that to feel alive, I guess, you know what I mean? So
Right.
it wouldn't be a big deal. I do remember whenever I first got on subs, like that first I don't know, like year or two, we Shannon's brothers and like brother-in-laws and everything, they would always bring a bunch of booze over and it would be like kind of just them having a little party. And it was kind of weird because I felt excluded from that because they knew I was not like I didn't want to
Right.
drink.
It's an awkward feeling at first.
Yeah, because it's like they would include me no problem, but it wasn't my thing. So that got a
And
little
then
bit weird.
also in their mindset, they probably didn't want to piss Shan off by like, doing it right there with you or like, causing, because sometimes that could cause a secondary issue because then
Yeah.
she's like, well, why are you giving him something that could potentially put him right backwards? Like,
Well,
right?
come to find
Right.
out, they had drinking issues too, and
See?
so now they're like that doesn't even happen anymore. Like I was thinking about it this time because one of Shan's brother-in-laws, he had non-alcoholic beer, and somebody mentioned something to him, and was like, "Hey, you're having a drink?" And he was just like, "Oh no, it's non-alcoholic. I haven't had a drink for 3 years now."
What are
And
your thoughts on non alcoholic beer? I'm just curious.
I understand the purpose, and if if that's what you have to do, and that's what keeps you sober, it's none of my fucking business, honestly.
Right.
Uh, I mean, personally, I don't think it's something I would ever get into. I do like the taste of beer, but it's just I don't need to drink. I don't need to have anything like that. But yeah, it's
It's
something if you
also one of
can.
those things. Like for me, I'm not going to lie. When I first went around my family and I didn't have that substance in my body, I didn't like it because I was so used to over medicating myself to
Yeah,
go to these things that now I just don't go. I don't go to big family events. I just completely don't go because I know what I can mentally handle. Not saying that I'm going to go there and party and drink and do, but
right.
it's very hard for me to socialize with people without having that substance. People look at me, and because I'm on here, they think I'm Miss like talkative, this, that. When in all reality, I'm more introverted than I come across.
Right. It's all social media. Whenever you get in person, it's a little different.
Right, because people are only seeing a little snippet of your day, Like even going back looking at old videos, I am so different now than I was in the beginning.
Yeah, in social media has kind of done that, and that's a bigger problem. Uh, because a lot of kids are like that too. Like they'll have all these online friends, but they go out in the real world, and it's like, we don't have anything to talk about. Let me be on my phone for the next 5 hours while we kick it, and that's just something that needs changed. But I get it. I think I'm okay now. Like, I get that anxiety and everything, but it's like it's a subconscious thing that I just can't help. But it doesn't affect an overwhelming amount just because like I got to meet with people all day every day. I see literally probably five, six, seven people that I've never met before in my life every single day that I have to have a full conversation with. So it doesn't
You know
affect
when
me.
I feel awkward? I hate to say this, but I'm just being honest. Like when I have to talk and go to like school things with the kids, I always feel like the other parents are staring at me. I don't like it at all. Like when my daughter was playing basketball, I would go there and all the parents would be together and me would walk all the way around so that I didn't have to socialize. Because honestly, I am so introverted. It's crazy how I come across on here that I'm not that same person. I will literally make sure I got a spot alone somewhere before I'm with the crowd.
If it's a setting like that, I have to take baby steps. Like usually I'll go in that first time and kind of check everybody out, maybe introduce myself or something, but that's about it. And I'll just kind of keep an eye on people and I'll figure out kind of who I think I could click with. And then next time, maybe I'll sit by them, try and have a little bit of small talk, something like that, and kind of just build from there. But again, that's on top of having the business, that is also my job. You know what I mean? My job is to network and to meet people and be able to uh, be the go-to for a lot of things. So I kind of just got to do what I do.
Like Erin saying, her husband's the icebreaker. See, my kids are the icebreaker for me a lot. When I go into settings like that, like one of my kids will go and like say something, and then another parent will say something back, and we'll kind of engage. But I went to like this little teddy bear thing with Scarlett at school, and I felt like there was a lot of parents that were like staring at me. I don't know. I just felt like weird vibes. Maybe it's me overthinking because a lot of times I worry about what other people are thinking in the back of my head. I'm going to be honest.
I do too to some extent, and I'll catch myself like in the middle of a conversation. I'll just I'll randomly be talking to somebody and be like, "Huh, am I rambling? Like, do I feel stupid right now? Do I look stupid?" Oh, and then I'm still in the conversation. It's like,
Right.
I mean, it happens. That's a self-conscious thing you just kind of have to deal with. I'll lose what the fuck I was talking about because I'll start thinking about that while two people are fucking staring at me, and it's just then you're just like, oh god, they noticed. Like,
Or like for me, when I go out in the public places, my kids are so abrasive and so loud and they're running all over the like I feel like people over kind of stare because here's this girl walking in with all these kids that are running every which way, their
yeah.
mouths, blah, 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 blah. Like sometimes it's just a lot.
I think that's part of your thing too. You feel like whenever you walk into a room, just because your kids do run around, you feel instantly judged because
Right.
people are judging. You walk into a room and the kids are freaking out, they will judge you.
Right. I say this all the time. Half the time, I can't even take my kids to Walmart. Like straight up, I can't even because I have to kind of separate them and take them in like smaller groups at a time. Because when I get them all together, they're plucking. Oh, this one tapped my shoulder. They didn't like the whole car ride to my parents wasn't bad, but the car ride back, ooh.
Yeah, you need Walmart delivery, homie. Lynn's got it right.
I've never ever done anything delivery in my
Oh,
life. I've
you
never
are
bought
fucking up. You're
dude,
fucking up.
I get overwhelmed when I go online like that. Like I want to look at the fruit and pick it out the like I don't want somebody else controlling what they're grabbing for me. I'm too
They don't.
controlling.
They don't. You can generally pick everything. Now, they will do substitutions, but a lot of them are very good about it and they'll text you. And if Walmart doesn't do it, you go, try somewhere that does. But they'll text you and be like, "Hey, they didn't have green grapes. So you good with red
Bro,
grape?"
I'm too controlling. Like I got a problem with that. I do. In my recovery, I became very, very hyper independent almost to the point where I think it's going to be difficult for me to find somebody that's going to want to like work with me because I'm very independent.
You would save so much money though, because your kids wouldn't be in there picking every fucking
You're right.
thing.
Oh, that's a good thought.
So
See,
try it.
I walk into Target and I'm like, guys, I'm not spending any money, and I walk out. It's always a few $100 every time.
You do have to know what you're getting. That's the other hard part.
Right.
You have to consciously make
You
a
have to have
list.
like a list of
Yeah.
things like, oh, I need A, B, C, and D. See, when
Yep.
I go through the grocery store, I go through the grocery store in order. I only walk around my grocery store in a certain order. I go to produce first. I can't do it the opposite way. I'm very like,
But that's why you waste so much money. You allow yourself to see so many things because there's no reason you should be spending that much at the grocery store.
oh my God, I spend like $200 every day.
And that's the thing. There's no reason you should be spending that much.
Right. I need to start learning how to coupon. Anybody on here know how to coupon?
Plus,
Seriously,
couponing.
because
Don't let the kids
I
pick.
I would love to learn like how those people get all those laundry detergents and body washes and all these things for like shit money. Shit money.
We can usually get away with feeding our entire family. So we have one extra person. We can usually get away with feeding us even while we're trying to be decently healthy for about maybe 250 a week.
I find like when I buy things in bulk, even though I have a family of five, it's too much. Like Costco, like if they have like that big bag of chips, my kids leave everything open. That bag of chip will be stale
Yeah.
tomorrow. That's one of my pet peeves. My kids never, like, they'll open up a cereal and they'll never close it back up. And then they bitch that it's stale. Well, geez, I wonder why. The bag never had a chance to shut. Your hands are always in and out of stuff.
And like we'll go onto Amazon and we'll order like toilet paper and kind of some of the essentials that's not food that we know we're always going to get because then
Right.
Shan gets the Amazon points or whatever. And shit, we use that on like after probably like a month or two, we can get on Amazon Prime and be like, hey, let's have a movie night. And usually those extra points pay for the movie at least. So
Nice.
yeah, there's all types of shit, homie. I'm telling you, you need to try. It's not going to be, you are not going to get everything. Some things they'll
Right.
be out of, some things they'll give you the wrong thing, and it's going to be like, well, fuck.
I'm just too controlling. Like, I really have a hard time letting go of control. I need to work on that. You know what's weird? I used to not, I don't think I was always this controlling. I think that my
Probably
life
not.
brought me this way. Not having other people to depend on has made me overly independent because I know that there is not one person that I could depend on besides myself.
Shan gets like that, and I have to constantly remind
Yeah,
her.
but she gets like that even knowing that she has a husband that pays the bills and takes care of things. Like,
Yeah, but she was in a 20-year relationship where it was all up to her.
right. I understand. I can relate to that.
I mean, so she still to this day reverts back to that sometimes, and I have to remind her, what the fuck
Like,
are
you're
you doing?
not there anymore. Right.
Yeah, yeah, and then she's like, I know, and she'll get all down on herself, and I have to just stop being stupid because that's too much. But yeah, no, it's she gets like that all the time, and we usually have to talk it out, and I have to tell her like, don't forget, I am here. You are getting mad because you had to do this, but you chose to do this. I told you I was going to do it. Just give me a sec.
Right.
Let me do what I'm doing.
That's
So
like me. I ask the kids, I'm like, go get me the broom and dustpan. I ask them that a million times a day. I should literally have one in every room because I'm always sweeping. It's like an OCD thing. But when I ask them to get it, I want you to do it now.
that's a little different though, because it's like there's a spot here I need to clean up real quick. Go get me a damn broom and dustpan. I get
And you know
that.
what my kids do? They'll look at each other and they start fighting. You get it. No, you get it. No, I did it the last. And then I'm like, oh, fucking do it. And then I just do it.
Well, it's like whenever, like if Carson asks for a water or something, she knows pretty well if you want it and you want us to get it. If my ass hits that couch seat, you wait until I get the fuck up. That might
See,
be
my kids, they
minutes.
want me, it's like this. They expect me to do for
Oh no,
them.
no, no.
But then when I need it, like a hand real quick, they're all like, their hands all drop.
You letting them boss you around, homie. Next time, be like, get it your damn self. They won't get it their
I'm
damn
gonna,
self.
I'm gonna start doing that today.
I'm telling you, it'll take time and it's gonna piss you off for a little bit, but it'll work.
But habits are breakable because, like,
Mhm.
even my kids, they were hooked on the sippy cups for the longest time.
Yeah, yeah,
The
yeah.
reason and the reason why they were hooked on the sippy cups was a lot my fault because I
You let
didn't
them
want
on the
them like
couch.
spilling it on my couch or my
Yes,
furniture.
yeah.
But I finally got them to learn how to like not use the sippy cups anymore. Like, thank God. Oh my God.
We will still. Carson doesn't really have sippy cups anymore. She just has cups with like lids and a straw.
Right.
Or like if she's at the table, she doesn't get that though. Which normally we eat dinner at the table now. We really don't eat much at the couch. It just that was something that was my fault because my me and my dad we always ate dinner sitting at the couch watching TV and
So you're trying to make it more family time instead of just
yeah.
like chill. I understand that.
And every once in a while, like we'll let Carr and Jax bring their iPads to the table or something. Talon usually brings his phone, but he's a little older. But most of the time, probably like 6 days out of the week, your tablet doesn't come with you. We are sitting down, we'll have family time, talk about the day.
Right.
And especially Carson, she don't like it half the time, but whenever we sit down, she knows we got to talk.
One day they're going to appreciate that
She does a lot because usually we end up having fun at the table because we're actually all sitting down and
and
eating
engaging
with
with
each
one
other.
another.
Yeah, and
Right.
it's we're not occupied by other things, so it's
I like
nice.
that.
But yeah, that's the type of shit you gotta do, homie. Yeah, that's all we've got. We love you
Have a
all.
great day, and we will catch you later.